The new One Piece card game Banlist just dropped, and I have some thoughts. Let's break it down and see how it affects the game. Here is the full list of bans just announced by Bandai. 8-cost Gecko Moria, Jinbe, Ice Age and Kingdom Come, also known as Raigo. Wow, I didn't expect this. Finally they banned Gecko Moria, I guess. Let's try understand why these cards are banned. Starting with Gecko Moria, I think this ban is a little bit overdue already, but also I understand that card like that in the black deck's identity really limits the card design for the future black decks and leaders. So it only makes sense that Bandai wanted to get rid of the card to not limit the design choices in the future. And on top of that, we just saw that Lucci took the win in the World Championship and also the third place in OP9 meta that was expected to be dominated by Blue Doffy and BY Luffy. Still, I didn't expect this ban, and I think this takes out Lucci completely out of the picture for the future sets. Also, I don't see much hope for any other black decks besides Black Teach, because Gecko Moria was basically a spine of those decks. Next we have a Jinbe, and this is really surprising to me. As you know, I acknowledge Doffy is a problem, but my expectation was that we will get a ban of 2-cost Teach. However, Jinbe also makes sense to slow down the early game of Doffy, especially some disgusting combos that helped Doffy to keep his character standing, because if you play Jinbe into Bouncer Low, you can bounce Jinbe back to hand and then you have only standing characters on board, so all those interactions in the early game were really powerful to set up really strong mid game to push for the game, so Jinbe makes sense. My only problem with that is that it limits also other blue decks in a way, because Boa Hancock could also use Jinbe, but now it's not the case. Overall, card has disgusting tempo. I think it's the best tempo card in the early game in the game right now, or now out of the game, but I don't really think that this ban affects Doffy as much as Bandai might think. We still have disgusting combos, we have 2-cost Teach, we have Bouncer Low, we have powerful 6000 power bodies, and we need to acknowledge that, okay, from Asia perspective, from East perspective, OP11 is already there. Doffy got, let's call it, balanced by other broken picks, but for us in OP10, I wouldn't cross out Doffy completely. Keep it in the back of your head that you might face some Doffy players. They will have just a little bit less explosive turns without the Jinbe. Next we have Ice Age ban, and this is completely unexpected to me. I thought they will hit Black Teach in a way, but right now we see exact targeting of the Teach for the OP11 meta. In OP10, Ice Age was not so crucial in the East in Blackbeard's lists. However, right now I'm not exactly sure how I would place Blackbeard in the new expected meta in OP10, because previously in the meta dominated by Doffy, Teach kept in check other decks, and especially with the Kuzan printed, but now with the meta shift I'm not sure what place for the Teach in the meta will be. So we need to wait and see, but this Ice Age ban, first of all, kills a lot of black decks for sure. I mean, they are already dead with Gecko Moria ban, so they also decided, okay, we need to tune down the Teach. They will not ban the new printed card that is Kuzan, so they banned the Ice Age to limit the free cost reduction, so to say, because 1 Dawn for -5 cost is just disgusting in the removal decks. And lastly, we have Raigo ban, and this is the most unexpected, I would say. I think no one was nominating Kingdom Come to be banned, but I also understand from this perspective that this is one card answer to any big threat. So this is enormous value, especially in yellow decks, and currently in the meta, each yellow deck is okay to be playing on one life, so there is also no downside for playing the Raigo. Doesn't matter if you play black yellow Luffy, if you play yellow Kid in OP10, if you play Enel. This card gave you too easy of an answer and still allowed you to use the 4 dons for development, that maybe it's the correct choice. This is the only ban that I'm not sure if I completely agree, but I understand such easy answer to the boss monsters might limit the game design a bit for them. So let's see how it works out. There must be a deeper reason for sure, so maybe we should take a look for the future cards releases to understand why Bandai targeted yellow Raigo precisely. So now for the winners of this ban list, who benefits the most out of it, in my humble opinion, I will not focus on OP11 meta. Let's leave it for the content creators from East to break it down how it affects their meta. I will focus now mostly on our OP10 release coming next week. So in my opinion, the biggest winners are obviously the red decks. I expect Zoro to be in really good position, but also Shanks, obviously with the new cards that are buffing a deck a little bit. On the other hand, also the green decks like Bonnie, not touch at all and already in the good spot. Lim probably, some Dark Horse to pick, but also any purple decks because they didn't target Gam Giant. They target Raigo for whatever reason, but Gam Giant is alive and feels good still. So yeah, if you are the new player, Purple Luffy, perfect pick for you, I think. But need to be careful for those aggro decks. So actually we might be back in our triangle meta again with aggro, control and midrange. And my personal pick that I will be testing first is most likely Zoro. With all the new good stuff from the starter deck 21, like Gam Maul Pistol might be really crucial to defeat all those bonies that will raise up. Also, I think Teach might be in a really weird position right now. He was expected with new Kuzan to be a menace of the OP10 meta in the West, but apparently you might need to face so many aggro decks that you might not be able to keep up. So let's wait and see what's going on, but those are my picks that I think benefit the most from those bans. And for the leaders that got completely destroyed, obliterated by those bans, I think the first choice obviously Lucci or any black decks that were relying on Gecko Moria. Sure, we still have the Rebecca in a Lucci combo and so on, but also with the Ice Age ban, I don't know how much value can we get from the Tempest Kick alone, so it's something to be tested out, but for now I would not be worried too much of the classical black decks that were relying on Gecko Moria character. This type of ban also kills directly BY Luffy, not only Gecko Moria but also Raigo, so 2 key cards used in the deck. Black Yellow Luffy unfortunately already out of the picture, and indirectly any other yellow decks like Yellow Kid and Yellow Enel might be limited too much without Raigo to keep up with the big threats, because until now Enel, Kid were the good picks, especially into the aggro meta, but here again we will have a triangle that okay, you are good into the aggro decks, but what will you do against the big boys that come for you? You don't have an answer to them. So let's wait and see. I'm really excited for the new meta, finally something fresh for the Western players to cook with. So to sum up, I'm sure that this ban list was needed, especially in scope of future global release. It's good to see that Bandai can react for both metas, the OP11 in East and OP10 release in the West. I'm not sure if Doffy is completely done for now, we need to wait and see. Lucci and BY Luffy are out of the picture and Teach is big unknown. Let's wait and see for the rise of the aggro decks. Let's see if Bonnie will dominate the meta with new ban list in place. Is it enough for Purple Luffy to take over because Gum Gum Giant is not banned? We need to wait and see. But now I would like to hear from you. Do you think these bans were fair? What would you have banned? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like and subscribe for more One Piece card game content. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.